everybody, welcome to Hammond Urban Homestead. My name is Sierra Hammond, and I'm the hot mess mama of the homestead. Lots of holes. So, I am not dressed for this video right now, but I'm going to start with, I've been asked by a couple of people I know, how do I make bread? And it's easy. Don't need a bread machine. Honestly, save the money. You don't need a bread machine. So let's get started. I'm going to list off what you need, and I'll show you. And then we'll throw everything into a bowl and mix it up and get on the way. All right, let's get started. You want a bowl. This is my bowl at the moment. And you're going to put a cup. This is more than a cup, but a cup of warm water. Not hot, or the active yeast, the active dry yeast it'll end up killing it. So there's about a cup. Now, I always have a problem opening this. I actually grabbed a measuring spoon. So we are going to add 2 teaspoons of the active dry yeast into our warm water. But first, let's think about this. We need some sugar. This is what I have on hand right now. So you can do sugar or honey or molasses. I've done molasses. So I'm going to add a tablespoon of sugar to my warm water. The yeast will eat the sugar and it will become very lively, and that's what you kind of want. Now, 3 teaspoons makes a tablespoon. Now we're going to add 2 teaspoons of our dry active yeast. And we're going to let this sit until it blooms. Now, blooming, it means it's all dissolved and it's really bubbly. So we're going to come back. I'm going to show you what it looks like. And my nose is itchy. And we're going to move on to the next phase. So here's the yeast and the sugar and the water. It's starting to bloom. You can see it's dissolving. So that's great. Okay, so our yeast has bloomed now, and I'm going to add 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt to the yeast. I'm using pink Himalayan salt, but you can do sea salt. It's just what I have right next to me. I'm going to take 1 egg. This is from our free-range chickens. Plop it in. And I'm going to compost container. Grab my whisk and beat that egg in our yeast, salt, sugar, and water. Now you don't have to do the egg. It's optional. I'm doing the egg. I'm making sandwich bread for the children for school. So now that we have this, let's do this the right way. Ready? Woo! This mixture, we're going to add our flour. Now, a lot of my cooking is, I've done it so many times. Everything is pretty much by feel and sight of how it needs to be. So, I'm sorry. I'm old school. It's like a pinch of this and this and this normally. So, making a cooking video is a little bit harder than I normally do. So, Here's a measuring cup. And I'm grabbing my flour. Which side has the cups? Oh, it's this side. So that's 2 cups of flour. I'm pouring it straight in. And I'm going to find my scrapey. It's not by me. That means it's in the dishwasher. So we are going to grab a big old spoon. I'm going to stir the 2 cups of flour in. Now it's really crumbly. I'm going to add more water. Because if you put too much flour in and it's really flaky, like you're making a biscuit, just add water. Or milk, whatever you want to do. I'm going to add some more water. And I do that until it becomes, we're going to have to use our hands at this point. There we go. We're going to be kneading it. Now it's in a thicker dough. Oh, I'm going to take that whole bowl with me. All right, let's do this. See, it's a ball of dough. Move this to the side. I'm going to knead this right here. The only reason why I'm kneading it is to help it break up that gluten and get it more mixed as well. You can see it's pretty wet, it's sticky, which is fine, but it's staying in a ball, one mass. There's not much of it on the counter. I just picked up a piece. But now we're going to put this back in our mixing bowl. This is why I don't have another bowl. And I'm going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil. Now, I'm only doing this so it doesn't stick to the bowl so badly when I let it do the first rise. I'm going to make sure it's all covered in that olive oil. I put about maybe a tablespoon or 2 teaspoons of olive oil in here. Don't need much. Now, I'm looking for the one thing I need. Here. This is a bowl cover for my doughs. And it's breathable, so it doesn't balloon up. If I didn't have oil in my hands, it already would be on. 1 second. There. Now it's covered. We're going to let it rise until it's pretty much 3 times the size. We're going to compress it down, and then we're going to knead it again. And once we get all that done, I'll show you what we do next. All right, so our bread has doubled in size. So you can go by double in size. That's generally the normal. I'm going to compress it, knead it, and I'm going to put it into my baking tin to do the final rise. So Put it right here, honey. Top, top, top. Thank you. Yep, top one. All right. No. All right, so here's our dough. This is enough for one thing of bread. I'm going to grease my pan. One second, I gotta go find the pan. Okay, so I found it. I don't remember putting it in that spot, but I'm gonna take our lard and I'm going to grease the pan. And get all the sides really well. You don't want it to stick. Now, baking pan, a metal pan is more beneficial. You'll get a nice crisp sides, and it will bake faster than the glass. The glass has to warm up. This doesn't take as much time. So we are all greased. I'm going to form the ball of dough into a long shape. Put it down in here. I'm going to grab my hand towel and cover the top. I'm going to let this rise until it hits the top of the towel and starts lifting it a little bit, and then I'm going to put it in the oven at 375 until it's golden brown on the top. Then I'll remove it, let it cool down, and put it on the cooling rack. So I'll see you when we get to the oven point. All right, so as you can see, our bread has risen. It's peeking over. It looks like this. Now I'm drying cast iron in the oven, so we're gonna have to reset this. All right, I'm gonna move all these Dutch ovens and start pulling cast iron out. And yes, it's a mess, but we're gonna have the oven cool down a bit so we can stick our bread in and get baking until it's golden brown on the top. So, all right, off to the oven the bread goes. All right, our bread is golden brown now, and I shall let it cool down on top of all this cast iron. All right, here's the cooling rack, and our loaf of bread. I'm gonna let it cool down for a little bit, and then I'll slice it up because the kids want bread for lunch, and I'm gonna have to bake more now. All right, I hope this was helpful for everybody, and have fun baking. It's all how it feels, kind of measurements, but it's nice and fluffy, fully cooked.